Being transparent leads to success. Being successful is being transparent. Join us today for episode 50 of the Surging Forward Podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Surging Forward broadcast, where we're helping you to have a positive view in a negative world. My name is David Valentine, and I'm here to help you see the value in the job you do and how you can keep surging forward. Hello, and this is Dave Valentine with the Surging Forward Podcast. I want to take a moment to welcome you. If this is your first time listening, this is an exciting show that we have for you today. And if you're a long-time listener, I want to say thanks. This is episode number 50. Yeah, we've been doing it for almost a year now, kind of learning how to do all this new technology and spreading the word how you can keep surging forward. You know, we all work hard in the trades, and there's a lot of tough things going on out there. We work in the heat, work in the cold. It's never a perfect environment, but you can make a good living in the trades, and on top of that, be able to be successful. So that's what we're here to do, to kind of help you along that little trail, and we have a couple things that can support you there. Always feel free to check out our site at www.surgingforward.com. We have a lot of things there that can help you get your license to become a licensed tradesman in electrical, HVAC, plumbing, and fuel, gas, propane. And always here to help you answer questions. If you have anything that you need or you need some help with something, our doors are always open. Where do you get that at? You can always ask a question. You can look us up on Facebook. You can check out our YouTube videos. Or you can even send me an email. We always respond to the emails. We get a lot of those, and I want to thank you for all those of you that ask questions. And if I don't know the answer, I'm just going to tell you. But we'll find it together. But that's what it's about with surging forward. So, again, I want to thank you for all the things that you've done for me, encouraging me. Because sometimes it's tough to try to get this show out every week, but every time I get a little discouraged, I always get that little phone call from somebody who says they got their license somewhere. And we've really spread out across the United States. My goal is to get into every state. I can kind of see where the episodes are being downloaded from, even though I don't know who and where all the time. We got a couple in Japan. That's kind of cool. A couple in Australia. And we've run about 10 or 12 states. So my goal is to get to 50 states. You know, that would really be awesome. But so again, I want to thank you for listening and your support. And like I said before, we got a really cool episode today. And today's episode is being transparent helps you be successful. I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about today. And in today's world, we always try to cover things up, and everybody wants to point the finger here and there and say, who did it? I didn't do it. I've got nothing to say about it. I'm perfect. I don't make any mistakes. Well, that's going to be furthest from the truth. We've all made mistakes. Well, I got a fantastic episode today when I talk about to a friend of mine he lives clear across. He actually lives in Texas, and he has his own company. So we're going to be talking today to Dustin from Livewire Electric. And the fascinating thing about this, he has his own podcast and his own YouTube channel where he just talks about from the point he started his business to the point of being successful and how it is to move up the ladder. It doesn't cover anything up. It's kind of a live documentary, so it's really kind of cool. So I think you're really going to enjoy this episode. And so just kind of sit back if you're driving along right now. Sit back and relax and listen to some of the reality there. And he's got some good information. And if you want to watch us on video on YouTube, you can check out our YouTube channel on the Surging Forward channel. So again, just sit back, relax. I really think you're going to enjoy this episode. Have a great day. We'll be talking. Here we go. Well, hey, Dustin, how you doing? Welcome to the podcast here, Surging Forward. And we've been trying to hook up for a long time. And I know We've both been crazy busy. But I just want to start off with, why don't you just introduce yourself and what is it that what you do and some of the things that you've done as far as a tradesman?
So I'm a master electrician. I'm 32 years old. I started my company last year. So I'm still, a kid electrician. But I've always kind of been in like the handyman construction world. My whole family on both sides, they've always done construction, framing, roofing, all kinds of stuff. And then as I was growing up, my dad did all that stuff as well. He had his own handyman business for like 5 or 6 years, but he's, done concrete work his whole life. He's just done this kind of stuff. So, it was like a good fit for me to be in that kind of a niche, but, got into it when I was, I think like 22 or 23, into the electrical field.
Okay. So your dad kind of helped you get into a lot of it then, so you worked way up. Well, that's cool. And you're right there at that middle part. It was interesting. I did a leadership class not too long ago, and the average age for those in the tradesmen, I couldn't believe when they told me what it is. They said it was 51 years old.
Oh, 51.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I had heard 55, but I mean, even so,
that's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So what is it that, what is it that drives you? I mean, most guys, they're having a hard time running their business as it is, and they get started running it. And yeah, they're gung-ho with it, but why do you really care about sharing it with other people? I mean, you've done a lot out there, online. So why does that matter to you?
Honestly, I realized I'm a go-getter. Like I'm constantly always trying to learn and improve myself. And so before I do a thing, I try to kind of educate myself about what I'm doing so that I don't just blunder it, But when I started looking out there for content about how to run a company, I didn't see any content out there. And, I wanted to find like young guys like myself that were running companies and showing, like this is how you pay a guy, or this is how you, like all the mistakes and everything, but there's just nothing out there. And, Mike Holt's got a lot of stuff on his site. It's just like a wide gamut of stuff that he has. And so you can only get so far with articles. And, a lot of older guys that I have worked for, I got the same kind of advice from them that I got like Mike Holt. And it seemed to be, it was like not that there's anything wrong with this, but it was like an older outlook on this trade because, as you said, most of the guys in this, the average age is 51. Right. So I feel like there's this new kind of age of technology that's coming in, and there's not a lot of young guys that have a perspective that people can watch or learn from. And so I figured, like, why not just be that voice? Like, I don't mind documenting everything that I'm doing because I really don't care what people think. It's just, I think I want to make something that over the next few years, if there's people like me that are coming up, they'll have something to look at. And they'll, they can go to my videos and be like, oh my God, he did this. I'm not doing that, or oh my God, he got fired for doing that. Let's make sure we never do that.
I saw that episode. But
yeah, and I've gotten,
that's what was great, And,
yeah.
And, you're absolutely right. That's one of the main reasons, like, we even started the podcast because, even I'm trying to, even I'm electrical by background also, and, I think you knew that we were talking.
Yeah.
But I'm also trying to reach all the trades. My biggest thing is just getting the leadership stuff back out. We provide the online courses and help people renew their licenses and stuff, but the biggest thing, like you said, is just a lack of training out there for guys that need to get the training. So what kind of response have you been getting from the guys out there? I mean, what's been coming back to you?
Well, I've been getting the majority of my response is from YouTube. So I've got the vlog, I've got the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. Awesome. All my stuff goes on YouTube a little bit earlier, and then it hits, the blog.
Okay.
But YouTube is kind of just worldwide. I mean, there's a huge audience on YouTube, obviously, but I've gotten people from Russia, and what I've noticed too is I don't just get like one guy here and one guy there. It's like most of the people that watch my videos watch all of the videos, and like they'll comment on almost every one of my videos.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's kind of like I'm growing like a depth of my audience, and I don't care about having, you know, 1 million subscribers. I'm not trying to monetize this and make money off of it. I just really, I want more opinions and more perspective from people. I want other people that are running companies that are my age to write me something and be like, hey, stay away from this. You know, I want it to be just a kind of an open line of communication. I don't want it just to be me on this pedestal telling people what to do.
Right. So, how are you getting it out on there on YouTube? I mean, are you just putting the videos up and people are just coming, or are you using your Facebook? I mean, how does that, how's that working out as far as you reaching people?
So I'm still kind of new to this, so I'm testing my theory about how to use social media. And I'm not able to do it as much as I would like to, but, ultimately I record an episode, I edit it, throw it up on YouTube first, and then I put it into Facebook groups. I put it up on Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Like, I'll try to reference the podcast or the videos as much as I can, and then that kind of just has like its own natural organic growth to it. But like somebody told me a long time ago, if you have a store out in the middle of the desert, it could be the best store in the world, but nobody's ever going to come and shop. So you got to bring people to the store. And so that's what I use social media for. But I found that if I can target specific videos to specific people in specific geographies that have certain interests, you can actually pay to just get in front of people. And like in the old days, television, radio ads, newspapers, like you had to have a lot of money to get in front of eyeballs for people to even know about your company or know what you're doing. Facebook's super cheap. I mean, you can spend like $5 a day and get in front of thousands of people. And so then the onus is on you just to create good content, or, not even good content, just content that people actually want to hear and want to share with other people. So I've had a couple of videos that I wouldn't say they're like viral or anything, but I've noticed that there's a few of my videos that have been getting shared over and over and over. That's awesome. Other electricians will tag their buddy electricians and be like, hey, what did you think about this? And then they tag it and they tag it. And so, just setting like a budget, what I did for my most viewed video, which is like, are you a good electrician or a hack? I just said, like, I want on Facebook anybody that's interested in electricity or that's an electrician, from the ages of like, I don't know, I think it was like 18 to 24. Like, I was going to do all of these different tests, like month by month. I was going to do one age group and then another age group and just see how it hits, because I don't even know who my audience is yet. It seems like most people are kind of my age, but I've just been trying to figure all of this stuff out.
I think you got a pretty good following out there, because I can see it just by in your one Facebook group. And what's the name of your Facebook group? Why don't you go ahead and put that out there and talk about how that group's going along?
Electrical Wizardry?
Start that one.
Are you talking about Electrical Wizardry?
Yeah, that one there.
Yeah. Electrical Wizardry is great. What I originally intended to do before I even got this whole YouTube Journey to Master thing started is I started getting irritated with a lot of the groups that were out there. Like, there's a lot of really big Facebook electrical groups. You and I are part of most of the same circles, it seems. But I wanted a place where people were actually teaching each other stuff and not just like trolling people and being an asshole to each other. I believe in my company, like, you build guys up, you give them confidence by instilling confidence.
That's a very positive message. I like that. And that's important.
Yeah, and so I just wanted a group online of that same thing, of like some of the elders that I have worked under, some of the guys that trained me, like Jeff Butcher's in the group, and
he's a great guy.
It looks like Butcher, but is actually pronounced Booer. Anyways. And then some of the apprentices that I've brought up along the way, and some of the other journeymen that I've worked with. And so it just kind of started as like a core group. And then I noticed when I would go to some of these other groups where people were just like complaining about, like, I'm so afraid to even write something on here because all of y'all are going to be assholes. Then I would just invite that person. I'd be like, hey, look, man, there's still value in this group. Like, if you just sit and listen, you're going to get trolled on, because that's just, you're working in construction. That's kind of part of it.
Never let them see you sweat.
Yeah, but if you want to be a part of something that's just like a little bit more constructive, and we're trying to really educate each other, and don't be afraid ever to ask any questions. Nobody's going to make fun of you, and if they do, we're going to kick them out of the group. We want to keep this core of good guys. And so it's growing slowly. I'm not putting a lot of effort into trying to grow it, but I've noticed that like a lot of my videos are bringing guys in, and then just honestly communicating with people in other groups so that people know my name and see how I communicate. And I think that's been bringing people in too, but I don't.
Well, how's that helped your business? Has that helped your business grow with your clientele or any kind of customers for that sort? Or do your customers even know that you're doing this?
No, I've brought it up to a few customers because, like, every once in a while I'll have my wife Emily come to a job, or my son Josh will come to a job and he'll just flip out his camera, or Emily will flip out the camera, because what I'm trying to do now, I've had a lot of people on YouTube say, like, we want you to do something out in the field so we can see the work you're doing instead of your ugly mug just sitting there on your truck, in front of the camera. I was like, oh, that's a really killer idea. Why not just film some of the stuff that we're doing out in the field? Because I'm trying to just document everything. Sorry, I forgot where I was going with that. What was your question?
Yeah. Well, I was just asking how it helped out some of your customers, how your customers got involved. And so,
okay. Yeah, so I haven't brought this up to my customers. I've told customers that I have a podcast and that I have a vlog, a YouTube channel, and I'm trying to document everything. But I haven't really tried to pull my customers into watching it, because I think that for them to be interested, or for it to be something that I think I can incorporate with my business, I think it has to be more a portfolio of the work we do. So I've started making videos of Livewire. Instead of it saying Jury to Master at the beginning, it says Livewire, and it's got music, and it just shows video of us working in different environments. And I think that that's something that I'm going to try to use, but also incorporate the Journey to Master thing. Well, I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
A lot of these great reality shows all started from that little bit of video like that. You got the Duck Dynasty.
I don't want to be a reality show, Dave.
You never know what'll happen, man. You might be, all of a sudden one day, some guy might call you. I can be president. They're going to walk around with a camera, everything you do. Then you have to close the door and go to the bathroom and have some privacy.
Hell no, man.
But, yeah, because what you're doing it's really awesome, because you caught my eye. Well, like I say, you and I started probably doing this about the same time, and my experience with technology is not that great either. It's fair to middle. We had a fun time just trying to get this interview started.
Yeah.
So, but I'm trying to do the same thing, embracing technology, and I see the same thing you see as an instructor. I mean, I've been in the trade now for, about 35 years, and, I teach, and I see the same thing, most of my students running in my class are scared to death to ask a question because they scared them and hit them over the head with a hammer. That philosophy, I don't know why that is in some of the younger generation, but then when I go on the job sites now, I see why. Because they just treat some of these people like garbage, and it's sad, and it's my generation doing it. And
but so, do you think that it's your generation is treating people like garbage, or do you think that your generation, that's the electricians that we have to go off of, and like they were treated a certain way, and then they were trained to treat?
I think it's a frustration level. See, I came through a lot of different types of leaders. Some of my best leaders were the worst leaders around because they taught me what not to do. Okay. Treating people with disrespect and cursing at them all day long and just degrading guys out there, that is not a good leader.
No, you're right.
So that's why I moved up. At a young age, I was running a $500,000 job at 28 years old. And I was scared to death. And there's no way I could have done that job without good mentorship. Now, I've had some bad leaders along the way, too, as I was coming up, who was just constantly like the same thing what you say. They're just kind of slamming on the guy. So that's why I admire about you. I was running my own business, I ran that one big job, and after I got done, I started my business I had a business prior to that, but then I left to come back down here to Virginia. I was up in Chicago, and I started a business at a young age because I was frustrated with that kind of mentality. Yeah. And so then when I left, I sold the business. I was about 30 years old when I sold my business. I came down here. Of course, the wages are different. I tried to start a business. It didn't do so well, but I got hired by a company, and that's when I was doing some of these big jobs. But that mentality. So what you're doing is, that's what guys need to hear. And women. There's a lot of good women in the trade, too. But it's just, people don't know the questions to ask because they're scared that you didn't make a mistake. So, how about that video you put up where you said you got fired? That took a lot of humbleness there. So
why you got to bring up old stuff?
When you did that one.
Why you got to bring up old stuff?
Because that's good stuff, man. Because you solved the issue, though. You put it out there, and you weren't afraid to put it out there. So why why would you put your mistakes out there? Really? I mean, why would you do that?
I don't know. Maybe it was a stupid decision, but I just
That was a great decision, actually. It actually was.
I just believe in transparency, man. Like
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to hide from anybody. Awesome. I just, like, if I can do something that'll help somebody else down the line get further because they're watching our mistakes and they're watching our successes, then go for it. And that happened, and I was like, oh my God, I got to turn my camera on and, like, talk about this, because I have never been fired before. I've never had a customer mad, and I just, like, as I was handling it, those videos I was recording were in the moment as it was happening.
Yeah, I could tell.
Could you?
You know what? Because we've been there. We've all been there. And see, that's what I thought was awesome about it. It was transparent. But you just didn't let it be. You also sat on it and you recorded another video how you went back and solved the problem. And you took care of it, And I think that's what guys need to hear, because, we see them on those Facebook pages. You got the perfect guy out there. Never done any bad job. Every job he sees online is a hack job. It's like, really? Yeah. So that's what I think is awesome about what you're doing there. And it didn't look like you had any problem putting out the transfer. Like you said, you had to record it right then and there. So what was going through your head, though, while you were recording it? Did you have any back things about saying, I'm not putting this online? Or did you just say,
No, I really didn't. There was no hesitation. I thought right away, like, this is a good teachable moment.
Yes.
And I do that with guys that work under me and apprentices. It's like the second a mistake happens, I almost get this, like, ding, this little light bulb, like, oh, this is a perfect teachable moment. It was this specific job, after it happened, I had my guys wrap up and, like, go to the shop, and I bought them lunch, and I sat them down. I was like, this is a perfect time for us to actually get to talk about a mistake and, like, a weak point in how we operate our company. We found a problem, and that's good. I don't want to just go through our everyday thinking that we're just these all-stars and we get 5-star reviews. It's like, I want to know our weak spots. And so it kind of made me excited. And it was the first conversation, being a new boss, it was the first conversation I've had to have with my guys about messing something up, and, like, how do we move forward through that, and how should we act about it, and trying to reassure them, like, look, don't let this ruin your day. They felt terrible. And I was like, look, if I'm not mad, you shouldn't be mad. Stuff happens. Yeah. But this is how we fix it. Instead of fixing blame and being like, I can't believe you said this. And I've had bosses like that, and that's not a leader, that's a boss.
Exactly. And that's what I was saying. You probably learned more, believe it or not, from him than anybody else. Because you learn what not to do. And, treating people with respect is very important. I try to put that out in the field. And, one of the other, and I see that you're not afraid to do it also. I teach a lot of my students, and it frustrates some of the other instructors. I teach them to challenge me. If you don't know something, let's ask. Because I could be wrong. Many times. So, how has that actually affected your employees? What did they think about that after you had that conversation? Has that changed anything with them?
I think that they know that I've got their back. Cool. And, I kind of look at leadership like I look at parenting, and I'm not here to, like, tell anybody how they should parent or anything like that, but I feel like with my son, he's 12 years old, so him and I, thick as thieves.
Okay.
But I know that it took, for him to really heed my advice. We all know that boys tend to push boundaries, right?
Oh, yes. I have a 30-year-old. He still pushes boundaries.
Yeah. And so, like, I didn't have a really good relationship with my dad until I was, like, 30 years old. And it was like I constantly just wanted to push back against him because of how our interactions were. And it was both of our faults. But I realized that with my son, if I could spend the time building the rapport with him and building that love, to where he trusts me and he knows I love him, then me getting on him about something, he's going to heed whatever I say, because I've spent the time building that relationship. And so I look at my guys, this is the same way, like, guys and gals, if the people that are working with you respect you and they know 100% that you would go to war for them, they'll go to war for you back. It's just I feel like that whole circumstance that happened, that job, just strengthened us a little bit, because we all learned how to react to each other, and we all became a little bit more cohesive as a team.
It creates that integrity also, where a person's not afraid to make a mistake and come to you and say, instead of trying to cover it up. That's what you prevented also. Not to say it's never going to happen,
No,
elite
but I've
as
been
you
at part of
can.
companies where you're afraid to talk to that boss because you're just like, oh my god, he's going to wring my ass for this.
Yeah, and so that it gives a bit of integrity. And it doesn't mean sometimes you might have to come down firm because you don't want the same mistake happening over and over either.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's helped you guys out a lot. So what are your plans to do as we get near the end here? What are your plans to do as far as, I mean, you ever going to go into teaching and instructing? Or what are your plans for getting in, or continuing to give back to the electrical field, I should say?
You know, I've realized some things about my personality over the years as I've kind of developed out of my childishness into being a man. And one thing that I really enjoy doing is teaching. I enjoy spending a lot of time studying something so I can fully grasp it. And then step 2, actually doing it, doing the work yourself. And then 3, being able to take what you know and just dump it into somebody else's head. And when they have that aha moment where they finally get it after struggling with it and the smile on their face, I just get joy out of that. I get joy out of being able to help somebody get out of the situation.
That's awesome.
I kind of just want to help people get to a better place. Because another thing I've realized about this trade through some of the really good guys I've worked for is one guy I worked for was a Christian. He had a Christian company. And so his big thing was taking guys that were in really dire straits. Some guys were in jail or that were broke and had nowhere to go. And he would teach them this trade. And he didn't force his beliefs or religion or anything on anybody, but he became an example for everybody that worked for that company of how to be a stable man and how to take care of your business and how to take care of your family. And just working for the guy for 8 years, it's I almost developed a lot of his personality. And so I think that's my goal right now is I just want to try to help people out. And I'm in a pretty stable place in my life and I've came from squalor. I mean, I have a pretty rough story to where I came from and where I'm at. But if I can do this, I know there's other people out there that can too. And I just want to try to help show people the way to get up to where they were above water.
Awesome. And that's what the trades do. That's one of the things you really hit the nail on the head. I mean, a lot of us, I came from, I had to claw and scratch for everything I had, and I started the business at a young age. I worked the trade, and everybody says there's not a whole lot of money to be made in the trade, but you can make a good living. You might not become a multimillionaire, but you're going to make a good living. I was able to do great in the trade. I see you're doing great in the trade. And that's exactly what I try to tell some of these young guys. You're not going to walk out and make, 25, 30, 40 bucks an hour, in 2 years maybe. You've got to learn. Yeah. You've got to produce.
Yeah.
And, it's hard work. It's tough work.
Yeah.
So, but, again, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I really want to thank you for your time, Dustin. And, what you're doing is fantastic. And keep up the good work. And, I think you and I got to hook up and meet one of these days. I know you're in Texas, right?
Yeah, Austin, Texas.
So I gotta ask you one question before we wrap up. You like football, right?
Man, football's the only sport that I enjoy, but I don't even watch it. I've got to be honest, I'm not a sports guy.
You're not a sports guy. What's your team?
I don't have time, man. I was a hardcore Packer fan.
You're a Packer.
I'm not a Cowboys fan.
You're not a Cowboys. I'm a Cowboys fan. Okay? I don't have my Cowboys thing in here. No.
Oh, no.
I am a die-hard Cowboys. I met Roger Staubach at a young age.
You and I cannot meet, brother.
No, I was a Redskins fan. That's okay.
No,
a lot of Redskins fans.
Really, I was a Brett Favre fan more than I was a Packers fan.
I do like Brett Favre. Brett Favre is cool.
He was a childhood hero, man.
Brett Favre is cool. I like Brett Favre. My wife's a Chicago Bears fan, so she's from Chicago. So anyhow, that's great. That's fantastic. But yeah, you and I, one of these days, who knows? I might be in the Texas, or in the Texas area at some convention. I'm actually going out to Orlando, Florida for, the International Association of Electrical Inspectors. We're meeting down there in Orlando. We were actually in Dallas, Texas, probably about 4 years ago. So I got to go check out the stadium. That was kind of awesome. But, definitely stay in touch. We may be able to work on some things together or something, because I love the way you're putting stuff out. And, if you ever need anything, give me a shout. Help you out with whatever. Definitely. And,
I appreciate you having me on, buddy. I really do.
Hey,
Thank you so much.
And, I'll let you know when it comes on to pass. But anything, before we go though, give us your Facebook, if you know the address, the Facebook group or what it is again, so the guys out here that are listening, and Any other kind of information you want to share with the guys while we wrap up here? If you want to provide any of that content, or website, even if you got your website or your YouTube channel, put that out there.
Okay. Well, the main thing right now that I'm trying to push is it's Journey to Master. That's the tag, but I have a vlog. So if you go to journey2master.com, that's where all of my podcast and my vlog is hosted from. But if you go to iTunes or Stitcher on your phone and you drive around and you want to listen to an electrician talk because you're an electrician, you just go to iTunes or Stitcher and you can look up all my stuff. Facebook.
I'll make sure I put a link to it on there also.
Yeah, okay.
I'll put a link on the website. My website needs a little bit of work, the podcast website. The Surging Forward website, that looks pretty good. But the Surging Forward podcast website, that's the one I'm doing on my own. And I tell you, website, trying to do all this technology, it's fun. But yours is looking pretty good. I like some of your YouTube
I might be able to help you out with some of that too, because I've done a lot of web design and development kind of stuff in the past. So that's I'm an artist too. So just the designing and getting that stuff.
Well, I can tell you're an artist. I love your intro to your YouTube. So if anybody hasn't seen his YouTube, you got to check out his YouTube. When you look at my intro and you look at his intro, it's like night and day, man. I mean, you got to turn the speakers down though when you put the intro on for his. I put him on and he blows me out of the car, and all of a sudden his voice comes in. So it's like, okay, then I'm listening to the voice, and when it comes out, whoa, here.
Anybody that's interested, the first 4 episodes, I didn't know what I was doing with the editing and the sound level, so the first 4 YouTube episodes are, the beginning is super loud, and then the voice is soft, and at the very end, the volume gets super loud again, so just be prepared for that. But after that, I kind of ironed out the whole thing.
But check them out. Check out the YouTube channel, and also too, those of you guys that are on Facebook, if you're looking for a great site to get on, Electrical Wizardry, that's a fantastic site, and again, it's a place for everybody to learn and talk. You can put your question out there without getting trampled on, because I know Dustin watches that pretty good. He doesn't, the people that just kind of bash everybody, and none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
We're all growing in the trade.
And I wanted to say one more thing. Just your whole message that you have on your podcast is great. It's phenomenal to actually see somebody that I feel like we kind of think similarly, just trying to stay positive, trying to surge forward, trying to just move forward and keep positive things out in front of you. So I appreciate your content as well. And one thing I do want to say to everybody is kind of like a closing statement is we only get to live one life. And really about what that means, do you want to be 80 years old and looking back on your life and wishing that you would have done things a certain way? Don't let people get you down. Don't care about what other people think about you, or really just impress yourself. I mean, as an electrician, or not even an electrician, if you're watching this and you do something else, whatever you do every day, put all of yourself into and really take seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously, but take what you do with deadly seriousness. I really believe that. Just try to impress yourself every day and
that's great
stop
advice.
Trying to impress other people.
Love it. Okay, so we're going to close out this episode here. I'm going to get Dustin to help me out with the closing end. So I just want to make sure everybody knows out there, and we can do the surging forward statement. Everybody stay safe and keep surging forward. All right, friends, stay safe. My friends, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Peace. That was good.